you doing? Hope all is well your way. We are Vacay Mode Travels. That is Sarah. I am Alden. Today's topic is going to be the wedding invitations, the invites, save the dates, the do's and don'ts, and everything that comes with that. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, one of the first questions we get from our couples when they decide to hire us to plan their destination wedding is, should I send regular invitations, and how about save the dates? So we thought we'd do a session today talking about the etiquette with destination weddings on save the dates and invitations. We're going to give you some tips along the way, so stay tuned. All right, the first question that people ask is, when should we send our save the dates and invitations for a destination wedding? And we always recommend sending your primary save the date invitation 9 to 12 months in advance. Now, you want to do this because it allows your family and friends plenty of time to plan their travels. It also allows them to apply payments throughout the process if they decide, and just gives them time to plan for time off of work. Now, if you're going to send formal invitations, you would typically do this around 3 months before travel, and you may even want to include some of the wedding events that are going to be going on, if you're going to have a rehearsal dinner or a cocktail hour. Now, we'll also add all of these items to your personalized booking page, so guests will also get email communications about all of the events going on. But specifically in regards to invitations, about 3 months before for a paper invitation if you decide to go that route. Now, as far as RSVP deadlines, this is a question we get asked a lot, is when should I tell my guests to RSVP by? It can vary depending on how large of a group that you are going to be bringing with you for your wedding, but it's typically going to be around 4 to 6 months before travel. You're going to want to ask guests to commit to either yes, they're going to attend, or no, they're not. That way we can firm up all of your wedding planning and have accurate numbers for the planning process.
Yep. And that can be a challenge. That's really the big thing, is making sure that you give your guests ample time, but also, and it's not always fun to have to give a yes or no, hard yes or no, 3, 4, 6 months out. But because it's a formal event and you're blocking a set of rooms at a resort, that resort needs to know, that your guests are going to be there. We have accurate guest count because they are setting aside a large block that they could be selling to the general public.
And you also don't want to overpay for your guests. So if you have guests that, as they get closer, they decide they can't make it, or they couldn't get off work, or whatever the case is, you want to know that ahead of time, because you're going to give the resort around 60 days out. You're going to give them some final numbers for your wedding, and you want those numbers to be as accurate as possible, because you don't want to be paying for additional guests that aren't there.
Yes. Number 2, what should we include in our destination wedding invitation? So besides the basics, besides your name, the date, time, and venue, these invites should guide guests through the basic travel logistics. Some things you want to include are the full destination name, what city and country is that in, and the full name of the resort, because some of them, depending on the last word or two, kind of dictate what part of Mexico, for example, that resort might be. Also, like Sarah mentioned, a wedding website link that includes the travel details and booking info. We will lay it out as clear as we can, try to make it easy and for that process. Accommodation recommendations, again, just extending on what those accommodations look like and what the room options are, and try to include pricing. Again, we'll get into that and deeper into the process. The actual travel dates, if you had an idea of what celebrations are going on, like a welcome party or a rehearsal dinner, try to include that. You may not have that right away. That's something that we can include later on. Also, a dress code is, it would be nice, not just for what you want from your guests, but also what the resort may require, depending on if you're having a rehearsal dinner at a certain restaurant. There may be a dress code for that. So just something to consider. Also, the RSVP details should be very, very clear. That way they aren't just waiting around, or how do I'm in, I'm on board, I want to go. How do I sign up for this? So giving them a step-by-step on how to RSVP, that's what you want to include.
Yes, and if your guests are going to be booking with your destination wedding group and you've hired us to plan this on your behalf, you can disregard all of this, because we're going to make you a beautiful booking page with FAQs, all of the information for your guests, and we're even going to give you a QR code that you can just put on your invites with all of that information.
That's really nice. Yep. You can get that invite out with a QR code. People can scan that. They can sift through all that information. Number 3, how should we word a destination wedding invitation? It kind of comes down to what style you're looking for. If you want it to be more formal, something like the Halloweenski family would like to cordially invite you to our Say I Do's in Riviera, Cancun, Mexico, Or if you want to keep it more casual and fun, you could keep it, hey, pack your bags, join us in Paradise. We're going to be getting hitched, and then include the destination in that. But it just comes down to have the tone match your destination. Is it going to be more of a formal event, more tux style, or is it going to be more breezy, playful? Then you can match it that way.
And this is the fun with planning a destination wedding, is you get to work with all of these little nuances and make it your own, really personalize it. You can be as playful, as fun, or as formal as you really want to. So next question we get a lot is, should we send printed invitations or go digital? And there are some pros and cons to both. And again, like everything with destination wedding planning, there is no right or wrong answer. It's really what speaks to you, what's the vibe you're looking for, and how do you like to manage the information. When you do printed invitations, this is really great for capturing, the beauty of the destination, the theme, the texture, colors, designs, really playing to that aesthetic side. But not everybody likes to deal with the headache of sending printed invitations. So digital invites are also a great option for, quick updates, modern convenience, especially if you have a lot of international guests. It may be more difficult to mail invites. So this could be a nice option. Now, these days we're seeing most couples like to do a hybrid approach. They probably are doing more like a digital invite or a save the date up front, 9 to 12 months out, and then 3 to 4 months before travel, they're sending a paper mail invitation. That way guests that maybe they can't get one to, they don't necessarily need it, but the ones that they can, it still gives them something real to see, touch, and feel.
Yeah, I'm biased on that. I really do like paper invite. It's very personable, and it's just a nice touch. People still can see the invite. An email, people sift through emails all the time. They may delete it, maybe it goes missing, whatever. But Sarah does make a good point. If it does go international, the restrictions to mail something might be a little bit tighter. But number 5, how can we help guests who aren't tech savvy or frequent travelers? You're going to be getting, there are going to be a lot of questions that your guests may have. Keep in mind that maybe a lot of your guests haven't traveled much or haven't ever traveled internationally at all. So they want to know what that process looks like. If you can have a printed travel details insert in there, that would be great. Again, we as your wedding travel advisors are going to be helping assist all your guests as far as what that process looks like, transfers to and from, what to expect during international travel, and what is required of that. Also, the wedding website for updates and a travel advisor contact, that's us, so guests can always reach out to us.
Yes, we are here to make this process as smooth and stress-free as possible, not just for you, but for your guests as well. It's not uncommon that we get grandparents that maybe aren't as tech savvy. I have personally taken the time to walk them through page by page, look for this, click this, walking them through anything we can do to help make that easy as possible for you and your guests. We really are here to support you. Also, why we only work with a limited number of couples per year, because we want your guests to have a great experience. We want them to reach out to us if they have questions and feel comfortable coming to us, because we don't want them going to you. You guys are plenty busy. You got stuff to do. You got work going on. You're deciding which decor you want to go with. We want you focusing on the things that are fun and exciting for you. Let us take away all those guest questions with travel.
Yes.
And number 6, what mistakes should we avoid with destination wedding invitations? And so when we talk about some of the most common mistakes that we see, one of them is going to be sending invites out too late. So we got to keep in mind that when we're planning a destination wedding, our friends and family need to take time off work. Some of them need to budget for the accommodations and the trip itself. And some people may want to leave their kids at home, and so they may need to also arrange childcare options. So it's important to consider all those factors and send out your invites and save the dates as soon as possible. Give your guests plenty of time to plan, because they're going to be more likely to make your celebration that way. Another one is leaving out key travel or RSVP details. We see this a lot with couples who decide to DIY the wedding planning process. Maybe they're working directly with the resort, and so they're not getting that information until closer to, so they tend to leave details out. Or maybe they're just not as informed because they don't have somebody like us walking them through the entire process step by step. So that can make it really difficult for your guests, makes it harder for them to book in your dedicated room block, and you'll also you may lose out on some concessions because of that too. So there's a reason why giving them all of that information up front in a certain way works best. The other thing you don't want to do is don't overload your invitation with too much text. That's why we like the QR code that we give you. They can scan that QR code, gives them all of the information that they need, but then you don't have to, have tons of words all over your invitation. It can be more visual and more focused just on you guys and the date.
Yes.
The last thing that people tend to do a lot is forgetting to double check the website or the QR code. Make sure that link works. When we send you a link, we always test it and make sure it works. But if you are DIYing this process, make sure you're checking your links, make sure things are working appropriately, because you don't want to, pay for 200 invitations, send them out, and realize that the link didn't even work. So.
Yep, that's the biggest one. If you are savvy artistically and you want to do your own invites, if you can run that by us so we can just cross-check all the information that needs to be on there, that will make the whole process a lot better. That's a good way to go. Number 7, how can our invitations reflect the destination vibe? So this just, again, goes to style. Once we match you to the right resort, it really, might be a good way.
Venue.
Yeah, and venue. It might be a good idea to try to highlight some of the elements of that venue in your invites. Just to give you an idea, the sandy beaches of Cabo are a lot different than the lush jungles of the Riviera Maya. So it might depend on the color palette, textures. Maybe you already have some colors chosen or illustrations that you want to have included in there. Just try to match it with the venue and what that looks like. If you have some custom envelope liners, that's an idea too. And if you don't know where to start at all, reach out to us. We know a number of invite vendors that do great work. They've done great work for our couples and can definitely put together some invitation options for you.
Yes, and that's one of the things that we do with our couples as well, is we like to make sure that we give you some personalized vendor recommendations that will help align with the vibe that you are looking for, and just align with your vision, because not all vendors are created equal and not all vendors are the right vendor for each couple. So that's part of what we do, is help match you to all of the right people so you have the right team in your corner for your special day. So if you are looking to plan a destination wedding, I hope you found this helpful. If you have questions, if you're just getting started in the process and you're looking for support through the entire process for travel and wedding planning, go ahead, reach out to us, schedule a complimentary consultation. We'd love to get to know you better.
You can find a lot of great info at govacamodetravels.com. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Safe travels.